It was supposed to be a day of celebration, an early Christmas gift, they called it. 9,548 officers, promoted, higher ranks, higher salaries, a story of recognition, of loyalty rewarded, of a force finally healing its wounds. But what if that celebration is built on a foundation of sand? What if that shiny new rank is just a new uniform for an old festering disease? This isn't a story about promotions. This is a story about betrayal. A betrayal so deep, so systemic, it chokes the very soul of our nation. We sit here, in our homes, in our communities, black, white, colored, Indian, all of us begging for safety. We pay our taxes. We teach our children to respect the law, and we hope that when we dial that emergency number, the person on the other end is a guardian, not a predator in disguise. But listen to the whispers that have become screams. Look at the headlines that have become obituaries for our trust. The Madlanga Commission, the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee. Mind-boggling revelations, they said. Mind-boggling? No. Heartbreaking, soul-crushing. Because what has been revealed is the terrifying idea that the very syndicates tearing our country apart have badges, that the cartels controlling our streets have colleagues in uniform. So I ask you, with a heavy heart and a burning anger, why should these officers get these promotions in these high numbers when a shadow of complicity hangs over so many? When it has come out clearly that some of these officers are not just failing to fight crime, they are extensions of it, they are the other side of the same coin. They receive a salary from you, the taxpayer, to protect you, and then, driven by a greed that stains the very concept of service, they take a second salary from the criminals to betray you. They get paid twice, once for the job, and once for the job not done. They are double agents in a war where we, the people, are the casualties. And what of these promotions? 10 years in a rank, they say, a backlog cleared. But what did they do in those 10 years? For some, and we must believe there are still good men and women in blue, it was a decade of silent frustration, watching the corrupt climb, watching the system protect the wicked. For others, it was a decade of building connections, of learning how to navigate the dark side, of turning a blind eye for a price. And now, we promote them all? We reward the stagnant pool without cleaning out the rot at the bottom? Commissioner Masemola speaks of boosting morale and retaining critical skills. But what is the skill we are retaining? The skill of looking the other way? The skill of knowing which palm to grease? The morale we are boosting, is it the morale of the honest cop or the confidence of the connected one? And just as we try to digest this bitter pill, we are handed another. Look here, traffic officers graduating. 102 of them. We should cheer, right? New blood to keep our roads safe. But wait, the very article that brings us this good news exposes the rotten seed. Their admission was flawed. Their recruitment was tainted. Positions allegedly reserved for the politically connected. The program suspended, fought in court. These are not fresh-faced idealists. These are survivors of a corrupt process. So what do we expect when we send them to the roads?
Keeping a close eye on the graduation of about 100 traffic officials in parts of Mpumalanga. That ceremony is now well underway. These are individuals which we're told are going to hit the ground running, and these are live pictures that we're beaming to you from the community of Mkuhlu in Mpumalanga, where the Premier is also present, getting us a sense of how things are unfolding.
You don't need to be a prophet. You just need to be a South African who has ever been pulled over. You know what they will be doing. They will be the new toll gates on our asphalt. Drunk drivers, pay a bribe. Reckless speed, pay a bribe. Broken tail light, pay a bribe. Their training wasn't just in law enforcement, their induction was into a system that says connections matter more than competence, that shortcuts are there for the taking. We have institutionalized corruption. from the very first day of their careers, and then we act surprised when it blossoms. And who suffers? Who always suffers? It is the elderly couple in a quiet suburban home, hearing the shatter of a window in the dead of night, their lifetime of work about to be stolen by intruders who know the police response will be slow if it comes at all. It is the family living in constant, low-grade terror, not in a crowded township, but on a vast, isolated farm, where the ring of the phone can be a lifeline or a death sentence. It is the white farmer, targeted not just for robbery, but for brutal elimination in a farm attack, murdered on the very soil he nurtures, in a crime the system too often rushes to downplay or ignore. Their vulnerability is rendered invisible by a political narrative that dismisses their plight, that dares to call their desperate plea for protection a privilege. But let me speak this painful truth plainly. When a police service is compromised by syndicates, it is a betrayal that echoes with a unique cruelty for these communities. That call for help? It might be answered by an officer who has already been paid to look the other way. That murder investigation on a remote farm? It can be handed to a detective whose loyalties are divided or whose indifference is bought. Their cries are not for special treatment. They are for the most basic covenant a state makes with its people, that you will be safe in your own home, that your life matters. When we talk about a police service entangled with crime, we are talking about the green light given to those who see minority homes as soft targets and minority families as acceptable casualties. This is not a footnote in our national crisis. It is a central, horrifying chapter. The struggle for honesty in the SAPS is a struggle for the very principle that justice must be blind to race, blind to politics, and fiercely, unflinchingly focused on protecting every single life it has sworn to serve. It is the decent against the indecent, and right now, the indecent are winning. So, what are we talking about? What is going on? We are talking about a country at a crossroads of conscience. We are talking about leadership that offers Christmas gifts of rank and salary, when what we desperately need is the surgical removal of cancer. We are talking about a graduation ceremony for traffic officers that feels less like a new beginning and more like a beautifully wrapped empty box. This is the real South African story, not the press release, not the official statement. It is the story of the gaping chasm between what we are promised and what we live. It is the story of our collective fear, our simmering anger, and our dying hope. We must demand more, not just promotions but purges, not just graduations but genuine merit-based recruitment with total transparency. We must support the truly good officers, and they do exist, who are drowning in this swamp of compromise. We must stop celebrating the paperwork of reform and start demanding the reality of it. This channel is committed to telling these stories, to speaking these hard truths, to being a voice for every South African who feels betrayed by the very institutions built to serve them. We do it without fear, and we do it without favor. But to keep doing it, we need you. If this report gripped you, if it echoed in your spirit, then do not let this be the end. Like this video, let the algorithm know that truth matters. Subscribe to this channel. Become part of a community that refuses to look away. Share this video on WhatsApp, on Facebook, in your family groups. Break the silence. Comment below. Tell us your story. Have you seen this corruption? Have you experienced this betrayal? Your voice is evidence. And if you can, go further. Join our channel membership or donate via Super Thanks. Your financial support is not just a donation, it is an act of defiance It directly fuels our investigations. It pays for the data, the research, the hours it takes to dig beneath the press releases. It allows us to tell the stories that the powerful wish would stay hidden. It helps give a microphone to the voiceless and holds a mirror to a system that has forgotten who it serves. This is not just about watching a video. This is about joining a movement for accountability. For a South Africa where the uniform is a symbol of honor, not horror, where a promotion is a reward for service, not for survival in a corrupt game. Stand with us, because the fight for the soul of our nation is fought in the light, and it starts right here.